Welcome, everybody. We'd like to just give a brief update on town meeting and the protocol that's going to be followed and an overview of the warrant articles. Chris Sonner, if you could speak on the opening town meeting. Yep.
Sure. Chris Sonner, Board of Health Agent. First off, I'd like to say congratulations to our new moderator, Walter Eichel. It's going to be an exciting time for you. I'd like to bring up a map and share with everybody so we can get a better feel of just how we're planning on setting up town meeting on the football field. So I'll start over as you arrive. We're going to be pulling into the parking lot on the left-hand side. I believe it's the bus turnaround lot. And there will be there'll be Norton emergency management staff out there, as well as CERT volunteers helping with the parking and coordinating with the parking. From there, we're going to ask that you walk up this walkway right here. We'll ask that you maintain social distancing from anybody that's not with your group. There'll be plenty of signage to remind you of that, as well as cones marking out every 6 feet. As you come into the track area here, we're going to have greeting tables where you can get yourself some hand sanitizer. We ask that everybody bring their own mask, but if you don't have one, we will have some there to supply to you. And we encourage everybody to wear a mask throughout the duration of this meeting, just to help protect one another. As you arrive to this greeting table, you'll notice off to your left-hand side that there'll be an ambulance parked right there. They'll be there for the duration, fully equipped ambulance in case we have any kind of a medical situation. From there, we're going to head down, socially distanced, down to the registration table, where you will register in with the clerk and her volunteers. While I'm there, I'm going to stop and go up to here. This is going to be considered the handicapped parking, which is located on the back side of the school. So handicap or anybody that has trouble traveling long distance by foot will park up in this area here, make their way down through this pathway here, and at the registration station. It's a much shorter trip. From here, once you're registered, you'll find that there'll be volunteers standing here waiting to greet you and help you find a place to sit. There will be pre-marked socially distanced positions out on the field. There'll also be about 120 chairs available for those that may need them, but we do encourage you to bring a chair or a blanket of your own. I think it'll make it a much more sanitary and much more comfortable situation if you do that. If you need to use the restroom for any reason, at any point rather, you're going to head right over here off to the left of the bleachers, in through this small gate, and over here we'll have 3 handicap style restrooms, portable toilets, and we'll also have people here with hand sanitizer, as well as hand sanitizer inside the portable toilets. Unfortunately, because of COVID-19, the availability of hand wash stations is just not there for us right now. So we're going to have plenty of hand sanitizer everywhere. The meeting will be set up where the clerk and the moderator and the clerk will be in the center of the stage on the front, as well as the FinCom chair and vice chair. And then up in the bleachers seats, we'll have school committee on one side, and we'll have Board of Selectmen on the other, along with town council and the accountant and town manager. So if anybody else has anything to add here before I get off of this screen, I think that pretty much covers it. It'll be a regular functioned, as far as the town meeting procedures, it's going to be the same as you're used to. We're just going to be in a different location. Anybody else have anything to add to that?
Chris, just a question. In terms of department heads, are we sitting, am I sitting with the school committee as usual, or do you have a separate location for me or any of the department heads?
So we're going to try to have the department heads off to this one end.
Okay.
you will be with the school committee. And then, like I said, Mike Units, the town council, and town accountant will be sitting with the selectmen.
And Chris, are people encouraged to put on sunscreen before they come and maybe wear a hat if they want to, and bring their own chairs?
Sure. So that was one of the other things I was going to discuss, was some of the things that you may want to bring with you to the meeting. Again, your own chair or blanket. If you have a blanket, you could sit on the blanket with your family. Sunscreen. It is June. It is going to be sunny out that day, we hope. Mosquito repellent. So we do have Bristol County Mosquito coming in on Friday to spray the perimeter of this field, in hopes that it eliminates an issue with any mosquitoes. We don't generally have an issue with mosquitoes on this field from what I'm being told in the morning. But just in case, we went ahead and had them spray. And then we, again, strongly encourage everybody to bring their own mask, but we will have some available if you don't have one. So I'll go over some of the ground rules that we have for town meeting are very simple. We ask that everyone remain seated. And if anyone does need to use the restroom, they are located off to the left of the bleachers, like I showed you on the map. And please feel free to make your way to the restroom at that time. Can everybody see my screen right now?
No.
No. I'm going to put it up. Hold on one second here. I apologize. Bear with me. All right, here we go. All right, so the ground rules are going to be, again, we ask that everyone remain seated. If anyone does need to use a restroom, they're located off to the left of the bleachers. And please feel free to make your way there at any time. If you'd like to ask a question, we're going to ask that you just stand up in front of your chair or blanket, and a volunteer will come to you with the microphone. Based on the governor's guidance, we're asking that everybody wears a mask and continues to do so throughout the duration of the meeting to help protect one another. If for any reason you need to seek medical attention, the fire department is on site and available. At the end of the meeting, we're going to ask that everybody waits to be directed off the field. We're going to be doing that on a row-by-row basis while maintaining social distancing. And then we ask that everybody make their way to their vehicles, and please do not gather on school property in groups and having conversations out in the parking lot. We're trying to keep everybody socially distanced and safe. Do we have anything else that we have here? Walter, you have any thoughts on what I've talked about thus far?
No, I think you've done a great job, and I know there's a lot of behind-the-scenes planning that wasn't obvious from your presentation that has happened. So I think we've done a very good job of preparing a safe and informative meeting for the town. So thank you very much for your work.
Thank you, Walter. So that's essentially the plan in a nutshell. We're hoping that it's a 9 o'clock meeting, so we're hoping to have people come in a little bit early. An 8:30 arrival would be great, and we'll start getting people checked in, or even earlier than that. If it's fine with us, as long as they don't mind hanging out for a bit. But check-in shouldn't be any much slower than what we already had, if I'm not mistaken, Lucia.
No, check-in should be speedy. We have the poll pads ready to go, and that's very efficient and fast.
Perfect. So, and we'll have everything ready to go. I think it's going to be a safe and an easy functioning town meeting rather. So,
Thank you, Chris.
all right.
I'm going to hopefully share my screen now. So just to give people an understanding, if you go onto the town website, the warrant is on the website. so you can see all the articles. And I just want to review with you. You'll see this is just a list of the articles. And on this list, there's 17 articles. But Articles 13 through 17 are recommended to refer back to committee. This was done, the Planning Board and the Industrial Development Commission, they did a great job preparing these articles and presenting these articles, and they were ready to go with these articles. The concern is that a lot of people that may want to weigh in on these articles won't feel comfortable coming to a town meeting yet. So that's why these articles, if everyone goes along with the Finance Committee's recommendation, will not be discussed and will be referred back to committee. And by referring them back to the committee, that means they can come back up again at a future town meeting. And I'll just go over some of the other articles that, standard Article 2, that Article 2 is to authorize the town to accept any funds that we receive from the state under the Chapter 90 program. These funds are used to do work on the roadways in town, all accepted streets. Article 3 is has been recommended by both the Selectmen and the Finance Committee, and it's to use $185,735 from free cash, and this is to cover the costs for retirement expenses from 3 departments: police, fire, and communications. Article 4 is collective bargaining agreements, and right now there are no agreements to be voted on, so the Finance Committee has recommended no action on Article 4. Article 5, tree services, it's an article that has been on every year, and the Finance Committee and the Selectmen have recommended this article, $25,000 coming from free cash to fund this article. And this is an article that the Highway Department uses to hire a tree company for large trees that they need a crane for, and also any trees that were near wires that our Highway Department is not certified to work near wires. Article 6 is the water enterprise budget. The water department, the budget is an enterprise account, so all funding for that budget comes from water receipts, any leases that they have, and any interest that they earn. And Article 7 is sewer enterprise budget, and that also is funded from sewer receipts from ratepayers. The operating budget is Article 8, and the Finance Committee and the Selectmen have recommended a budget of $60,818,873. And I just want to give you some understanding on this. So right now, obviously, there's an air of uncertainty about what's going to happen with the economy, and you hear bad news and then you hear good news. I know in May they said sales were up a lot more than they expected, and auto sales were actually up 44% from what they expected. So we still have an air of uncertainty about what's going to happen as far as local receipts and local aid. And if you look at this, you can see under local aid, our recommendation is right now $16,158,585. And that is a reduction from what we were anticipating with the governor's original proposal of $16,441,084. And the figure is reflective of a 10% cut in unrestricted government aid. Chapter 70 withheld at the governor's number. The question is, is the state going to have enough money to fund that? And we don't know that. Still uncertain. We don't know if they're going to have a budget proposal until the end of August right now. So that's an uncertainty we're dealing with. And also our local receipts, if you notice, the estimated originally was $4,802,420. And due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we've reduced our estimated receipts to $4,443,420. We're still proposing, as we did in previous years in our May town meeting, to use $600,000 of free cash. A new item this year is to use $439,500 out of stabilization. We'll use $100,000 out of the Hicks Fund, and our ambulance receipts. We've been constantly running 2 ambulances recently, and the selectmen last year did a review of ambulance fees and what comparable towns were charging, and we were able to increase those somewhat. So we're looking to use another $100,000, so $700,000 of ambulance receipts. So in the going down to the bottom, you can see that results in a general government budget of $13,859,701, and $30,706,589 for the school department. So I know that the general government request 2% increase, and the school department request was, I think, an 8% increase. We were able to provide 2.2 for the general government and 2.5% for the schools. And Dr. Byetta is on, can speak on the budget a little bit.
Thank you, Mr. Units. Mike and I, going back, I think as early as late January, early February, started to talk along with James Quello, our accountant, and Matt Wells, our business manager, about our numbers and the overall revenue coming in, and this is before C-19 hit, and C-19 hit. Mike and I and James and Matt continued to discuss the numbers in terms of what we're seeing and hearing, and trying to come up with something that allows for us to move, in my case, into the fall, and for all of us, July 1st. We also approved and forwarded, and I believe it's already been approved, a 1/12 budget that's gone forward. But we're recommending, the school committee's recommending the recommendation of the FinCom through the town manager and the Board of Selectmen of the 2.5%, and hopefully be able to survive. We have our biggest 2 unions with a tentative agreement, which will be voted on by the school committee in an open meeting on Thursday of this week. So by town meeting, if in fact it passes, it's been ratified by the union. It just needs the school committee's support. So that would allow for us to know that the very number that the school district has, which is approximately $748,000, that increases in that number. And so that would actually, by going forward with this recommended budget, that would at least give us a sense of what we have based on the recommendation. We can't speak to Chapter 70 at this time. Chapter 70 is over $12 million to the town, or to the department, and to the town of Norton. A 5% cut is $6,500. A 10% cut is $1.2 million. We're talking about some devastating numbers if that was to happen on either side. So we feel comfortable going forward with this. We did have to lay off some personnel, but we also got lucky where some folks have announced retirements. And so for one of those positions, we're actually able to recall the person, therefore not creating unemployment on the town side as a cost, or less of a cost, I should say. We're just not filling the new position, not the new position, but the original position that was in the budget. So there was a 3.0 cut to staffing at this time. That's direct cuts. And also we currently are freezing salaries for administrators. that's how we get to our number.
Thanks, Joe. And as Joe said, you know, we've always adjusted our budgets in October, and we're just hoping that this year we're still going to be able to add rather than reduce the budget. So that was Article 8. Article 9 is capital, and that you can also view that on the town website. Capital was also, the capital plan was something that had to be readjusted also after COVID-19 hit. We had a much more ambitious plan, but we have in our capital plan payments that we're making on equipment, like payment 2 of 5 or 3 of 5. So those will still be there next year. So we want to make sure we maintain enough revenue in the capital account to cover those. And so we had to scale back, and in capital, we'll be using $416,150 from the capital fund. Water, we'll be using $34,015, and also water will be borrowing $850,000. This is for replacement of wells 5 and 6. Article 10 is another article from the sewer department, water and sewer department, and this is seeking to borrow an additional $1.1 million to be used on the West Main Street sewer project. This would augment funds that were already voted at previous town meetings, and they've hit ledge that wasn't anticipated, and these delays are adding to the cost of the project, and so they'll be looking to borrow another 1.1 million. And I should say that will be paid for from the users, the people that tie in. You know, we'll be paying for some because it's town property tying in. The water, the housing authority is also paying a good portion of that. And then I should have also said under the capital plan, under the borrowing, the $850,000, that's paid out of water enterprise, so that's from the ratepayers. Article 11 is a agreement for a lease for antenna space on the water tower on Cottage Street. And because this is a extended lease longer than 5 years, it has to be approved by town meeting. This is a 10-year lease with 2 5-year options to extend. And so this will bring in $36,000 a year to the water department, plus 3% escalation each year in the lease. And then Article 12 is a prior year bill, $605.30 from the planning department to go to the Sun Chronicle for advertisements. And because it's a prior year bill, it needs to be voted on at town meeting in order to pay it. It will be paid out of this year's budget, but they can't pay it without a town meeting approval. So as I said, if you have any questions, you can go onto the town website and see the warrant. And if you have questions, you can email me. My email is myunits@nortonmaus.com. I'd be glad to answer any questions you have in advance if that helps you out. And I don't know if anyone else has anything to add.
Mike, I just had one comment, maybe back to Chris. I know that having water is not necessarily something that we want to have, so I've heard from other folks, but I'm wondering if there's a prediction for really hot weather, just wondering if people should bring their own water, and we could have trash bins around, or they could just take it with them, or I don't know what the best idea is. I'm just worried. I get worried about folks that have potentially immune issues or older citizens that any type of sun could become problematic.
Yeah, so I do recommend that people bring their own water. I do know that I've coordinated with Wade Lazat, the facilities director, and we're going to have some water on site to make sure everybody could stay hydrated. And he also offered the cafeteria portion of the high school if we needed a cooling zone for somebody if they were overheating. So I think we've got it all covered pretty well, but there will be water there available if needed.
Thanks, Chris.
I'd just like to say, Mike, while I have this platform, I want to thank the people of Norton for making the Board of Health's job with COVID-19 a pretty easy process considering what we were going through. Everybody we dealt with, whether it was dealing with situations like this with the officials in the town or dealing with case tracking with the patients that are in the population. It has been an absolute honor to be in our position, and I thank everybody for being cooperative and helping us through it. So hopefully we can get rid of this here pandemic and move forward, but it's going to be a while.
It is amazing how responsible people are. You know, if you go to Cumberland Farms and you see people getting out of their car and they're all putting their masks on, and you know that's what's really helped bring these numbers down, and hopefully it continues.
Yep, absolutely. Keep up the good work, Norton.
All right. And Walter, good luck on your first meeting, and Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. Wish you the
Mike.
best.
Thank you, Mike.
Bring a big gavel.
There's rocks there, I think, right?
Oh, there's plenty of rocks. I can guarantee you that.
Good.
All right. Thanks, everybody. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you all Saturday.